Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory.
Hello, friends. I'm Siobhan McDonald from Granger Street Studios. I'm so glad we have some time together today. Let's get started with our program. Today, we are going to get your sparkle on because this program is about fireworks and more. I'd like to begin by thanking the folks from AgeSpan for hosting this event. I'd also like to thank Right at Home Boston North, the award-winning home health agency, for sponsoring this program and helping us all to stay safe, healthy, and connected. Many historians believe that fireworks originally were developed in the 2nd century BC in ancient China. It is believed that the first natural firecrackers were bamboo stalks that, when thrown in a fire, would explode with a bang because of the overheating of the hollow air pockets in the bamboo. The Chinese believed these natural firecrackers would ward off evil spirits. Sometime during the period 600 to 900, the Common Era, legend has it that a Chinese alchemist mixed potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal to produce a black flaky powder, the first gunpowder. The ancient Chinese, like most cultures of the world, were concerned with the finality of death and looked for magic potions and elixirs that would make man immortal. It was while attempting to find immortality that they created this mixture. The compound sparked and exploded to the delight of the chemists. This powder was poured into hollowed out bamboo sticks and later stiff paper tubes, forming the first man-made fireworks. The ancient Chinese loved their natural bamboo firecrackers, but they weren't always reliable. If the moisture content inside the bamboo stalk wasn't high enough, it was a dud. But if the alchemists packed the bamboo stalk with their new gunpowder mixture, they got the desired pop every time. After a while, they replaced the bamboo stalks with the paper tubes, and the first true firecracker was born. A common falsehood states that the Chinese invented gunpowder but never realized its potential as a weapon. This is not entirely true. Around the 10th century, the Chinese military found that they could attach the firecrackers to arrows. Through trial and error experimentation, they figured out the best wick length to ensure that the firecracker exploded when it reached the enemy. These were, in a sense, the first bombs. Through their experimentation, the Chinese discovered that when the arrow firecrackers exploded in the sky, it created a spectacular light show. Different chemicals and colored papers could be added to make colorful explosions. Fireworks made their way to Europe in the 13th century, and by the 15th century, they were widely used for religious festivals and public entertainment. The Italians were the first Europeans to manufacture fireworks, and European rulers were especially fond of the use of fireworks to enchant their subjects and illuminate their castles on important occasions. Here's a print that's now in the British Museum from 1749, titled "A View of the Fireworks and Illuminations at His Grace the Duke of Richmond's at Whitehall." Oh, I know we all love to have fireworks illuminate our castles, don't we? Now, early US settlers brought their love of fireworks with them to the New World. And fireworks were part of the very first Independence Day, a tradition that continues every 4th of July when we celebrate, as John Adams had hoped, with pomp, parade, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other. Americans' spirit of celebration continued to grow And in the late 18th century, politicians used displays to attract crowds to their speeches. Well, July 4th is still the big day. Americans continue to use fireworks year-round to celebrate at festivals, special events, and sporting traditions, such as the Olympics and Super Bowl. Fireworks entertainment generates dollars as well as smiles. Hey, I know it's not the same as being there, but I couldn't resist showing you just a few seconds of fireworks from that Boston Pops Esplanade concert. Thunder over Louisville is one of the country's largest fireworks displays. But more than anything else, when you think of fireworks, you probably think of the 4th of July and the celebration of our country's independence. Fireworks have been with Americans since our nation's beginning. Speaking of beginnings, let's try a little trivia quiz. Please be gentle with me. I'm going to do my best. I wish I could hear your answers. I love history, but admittedly, I'm not always the strongest quiz taker. And I did not look ahead at this. So we are going to be doing this together. Here we go. Okay, so I'm on the AARP website. We're going to try this. How much do you know about the 4th of July birthday quiz? America's birthday quiz. Question 1, what historical event do Americans celebrate on the 4th of July? Okay, I know it's either this one or this one. It's either the official sign-in of the Declaration of Independence or the formal adoption of the Declaration of Independence. And, oh boy, I feel like I know they signed it on a different date. I remember that from school. So I'm going to go with this one. Ooh, let's check our answer. Yes, correct. Okay, so on July 2nd, they voted to approve to separate from Great Britain. 2 days later, the proclamation came. Okay, let's try the next question. That was not so easy. Yikes. When were fireworks first used in an official 4th of July celebration? Uh-oh, I may need help here, people. Okay. It could be that year after. I wonder if that's considered an official 4th of July celebration, though. Oh boy, oh boy. You know what? I'm going to go for 1901. I feel like it would have happened later. Oh, incorrect. Oh my goodness. How many of you got that right? I bet you did. I should have gone with my first thought. Congress authorized using fireworks to help mark the first anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The celebration, which took place in Philadelphia, also included bonfires and bells. Wow, I'm learning a lot. Which president first held a 4th of July celebration at the White House? Okay, I know it's not George Washington. I'm going to say Thomas Jefferson. Yes, that's correct. He was the first president to occupy the White House. And it was Jefferson who opened the executive mansion to diplomats, civil and military officers, and Cherokee chiefs. The Marine Band performed the President's March and other patriotic airs. Ooh, that must have been a very fancy event. That happened on July 4th of 1801. Okay, feeling better. We're back in the groove. Let's try our next question. Oh gosh, which newspaper first printed the Declaration of Independence? The Philadelphia Eagle, the New York Times, the Pennsylvania Evening Post, or the National Enquirer? I'm thinking it's not the National Enquirer. You know what? I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagle. So much happens in Philadelphia. Oh my gosh, and I am incorrect, people. I am so sorry. I should have paused. So it's the Pennsylvania Evening Post. after John Dunlap of Philadelphia printed copies of the Declaration for the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, printers throughout the colonies produced their own versions. The one from the Pennsylvania Evening Post came out on July 6th, 1776. Have to redeem myself with this next question, I hope. Oh boy. Which two US presidents died on July 4th in the same year? I think I know this one. I believe it is the top answer, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. Yes, that's correct. The two former presidents who were once fellow patriots and later political rivals died within hours of each other on July 4th, 1826. Jefferson was 83 and Adams 90. I do recall hearing that before. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? Okay, we're at question 6 out of 10. Which US president was born on Independence Day? Oh, I feel like I recently read this, and I have not done this entire quiz before by any means, but I came across this, and it was someone who definitely had a New England connection, and I believe that is Calvin Coolidge, even though I'm not quite sure and tempted to go with Ronald Reagan. No, you know what? I'm going to stick with my gut feeling because I am not doing so well so far. So Calvin Coolidge? Yes, correct. The 30th president was born on July 4th, 1872 in Plymouth Notch, Vermont. He's the only president born on Independence Day. Fun. Let's go now to question 7. What is the estimated number of people living in the 13 colonies on July 4th, 1776? Okay, I know it's not these two, 15 or 30 million. That's too many. It's got to be one of these. But you know what? We had only settled in New England 150 years before. I'm going to go with the lower number. Ooh, yes, correct. This estimate comes from the US Census Bureau. Let's move on to question 8. When did the 4th of July become a federal holiday? Okay. I know that it is a federal holiday, so this is incorrect. And I'm pretty sure it didn't happen for a while, so I'm going to knock this one out. That was the year after the sign-in. So it's either 1870 or 1876. I have a feeling, you know what? I'm gonna try 1876. Oh, incorrect, but so close. Congress reaffirmed the holiday in 1938 and mandated full pay for federal employees. So in 1870, it became a federal holiday. Wow, I am learning a lot today. Thank you for joining me for this. Question 9. Which of the following was not one of the original 13 American colonies? Vermont, Georgia, Massachusetts, or North Carolina? Oh, well, I'm pretty sure Vermont wasn't a colony. So yes, there we go. Phew, that would have been embarrassing if I got that one wrong. The other 10 were Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, and Virginia. The colonies became the first 13 states, and Vermont became the 14th state on March 4th, 1791. We are at question 10, and oh boy, I do not know my sport, so I need some help, people. What baseball player threw a 4-0 no-hitter against the Boston Red Sox on July 4th, 1983? Oh my goodness, I don't even know what that means. So I'm guessing it's the pitcher. This is how bad I am. What picture, and I know nothing about this, but you know what? There's something about me that wants to say Dodgers. So I'm going to go for it. Oh, no. So sorry, people. I bet some of you knew that answer. Dave Righetti of the New York Yankees, and it was the Yankees' first no-hitter in 27 years. Former President Richard Nixon was there and sent Righetti a congratulatory letter. Well, people, here are our results. I get 60%, which is really not a passing score. So apparently I need to brush up on some of my American history as far as Independence Day goes, but I'm fine with that. I mean, life is all about trying things, right? I'm not afraid to make a mistake. Thank you for your help with that. I know some of you were saying, no, Siobhan, choose the other one. Let's move on with our program. Okay, I definitely felt comfortable with some of those questions, but I was way off on some other ones. How did you do? And I love this slide. I just put this in for fun. Here we have a picture of John Hancock, who was this incredibly influential revolutionary leader. But what is he known for? For signing his name larger than everyone else on the Declaration of Independence. Sorry about that, Mr. Hancock. And now we're going to hear from history teacher John Green to teach us more about Independence Day. He talks pretty fast, but he has some great information. And after scoring a 60% on that last quiz, I'm going to really pay attention to this. Let's watch together now.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course U.S. History, and today we're going to talk about July 4th, which in the United States is known as Independence Day. This is the day that Americans celebrate our independence from Great Britain by doing what we do best: blowing stuff up, offering significant discounts on mattresses, driving long distances for uncomfortable family interactions, and eating a lot of grilled meat. Right, so the story goes that the founders of this nation signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, parting ways with King George to found the freest, finest nation on the face of the earth. Yeah, except the Continental Congress actually approved a resolution of independence on July 2nd. The Lee Resolution was proposed by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia in June of 1776 and was a simple legal declaration of separation from England. John Adams got so excited about it that he wrote to his wife Abigail, "The second day of July 1776 will be the most memorable epoch in the history of America. I am apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward forevermore." So what happened on the 4th? Well, not that much actually. The Declaration of Independence was the formal announcement of independence, and its text was approved on July 4th, 1776. The fancy parchment version with all the pretty calligraphy wouldn't get drawn up until July 19th, and most members of the Congress signed the Declaration on August 2nd. Adams may have been wrong about the date, but he was definitely right about the celebration. Americans started celebrating the 4th of July as early as 1777, and as Adams predicted, the holiday was observed with feasts, 13-gun salutes, and fireworks. Why don't we call them illuminations anymore, Stan? You know, people can say like, oh, we put a man on the moon and we can refrigerate our meat now, but I miss the old days. Anyway, in 1778, George Washington celebrated the 4th by giving his soldiers a double ration of rum, and also there was much more shooting than usual. But while the people celebrated the anniversary from the beginning, the federal government took its sweet time in formalizing the holiday. Independence Day became an unpaid holiday for federal employees in 1870 and became a paid day off in 1938. 4th of July observances have evolved over the years, but they generally involve patriotic displays, including decorations, fire, and explosives. Essentially, we celebrate our independence by having a one-day fake war each summer. Huzzah! Freedom tinnitus. Early observances were marked by huge bonfires, but the litigious nature of modern American society has greatly reduced the number of bonfires. However, we still have a lot of fireworks on the 4th of July. Many cities and towns across the country sponsor fireworks displays on the 4th. New York's fireworks display is the largest in the nation. Despite the grandeur of these officially sanctioned displays, many individuals across the nation feel the need to blow stuff up on their own in their yards because, you know, they have all of their fingers, and that seems like too many. Many states have restricted the sale and personal use of fireworks, freedom haters, but would-be patriots find their way to marginal neighborhoods every year to buy fireworks out of the backs of vans. In my neighborhood, these personal pyrotechnic celebrations start in about mid-May and continue well into August, causing my dog to have a very stressful summer. John Adams' prediction about gunfire holds true as well. On most military bases, 50 gunshots, one for each state, are fired at noon on July 4th as a salute to the Union. And in Stan's neighborhood, where you go to buy the fireworks out of the backs of vans, celebratory gunfire is common throughout the year. Here is an actual bullet hole in Stan's actual window. Stan, can we get the Libertage again? In the 19th century, many ex-presidents celebrated the 4th of July by dying. Both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on July 4th, 1826, and James Madison died on the 4th of July in 1831. Calvin Silent Cal Coolidge was born on July 4th, 1876, but as he was never demonstrably alive, no one really cares that much. Finally, lest we forget, Americans also celebrate the 4th of July by eating. Millions of Americans host cookouts to celebrate independence, and the greatest spectacle in professional sports happens every year on the 4th of July. I am referring, of course, to the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. The current world record is 68 HDBs, hot dogs and buns, in 10 minutes. That means the world record holder, Joey Chestnut, consumed about 28,500 calories in 10 minutes. But don't worry, he threw it up shortly thereafter. So happy 4th of July from all of us here at Crash Course. We may not celebrate American independence on the right day, but I would argue that in spite of it all, it's still worth celebrating. Thanks for watching.
Wow, he really does talk fast, but he had some great information. And I noticed that he answered 2 of the questions that we did on our quiz. So that was pretty cool to hear about Calvin Coolidge again and those other presidents. And how about that hot dog eating contest? Yuck. Ooh, I could not do that. So how did you celebrate the 4th of July? Let's look at some photos of people celebrating through the decades. This first one is of a little girl wearing a patriotic outfit in Washington, D.C. in 1916. Here we see people gathered beneath a large American flag in the street to celebrate the 4th in St. Helena Island, South Carolina. This is in 1939. 4th of July celebrations look a bit different in Alaska, where these children wore heavy coats in 1955. Parades have always been a popular pastime on the 4th. Here you can see some Boy Scouts in 1970. And children riding decorated bikes in 1989. Did you ever do this with your bike when you were a kid? I remember cutting paper streamers and taping them onto my handlebars. And some kids are just having fun at picnics. Perhaps you've done some of these picnic games at community outings, potato sack races, playing cornhole, holding those little flags and waving them. In Marblehead, we have a Horribles parade led by my neighbor. So you can see my neighbor, Sid. He's known as Uncle Sid locally. He plays the fiddle. Sometimes he rides in his antique car. He gets all dressed up as Uncle Sam and leads his parade every year. And speaking of cars, they seem to be a big thing in July 4th parades. Have you ever been to a parade like this? I love these antique autos. And of course, we have some classic cars too, like the one there on the bottom right. Now let's look at a work of art together. What's going on in this picture? Okay, yes, right away you're noticing it is filled with fireworks. And indeed, that is the title of the work. It's titled Fireworks. What more can we find? Oh, the people, all of these people. And you're noticing that this took place a long time ago. What do you see that makes you say that? The clothing. Like here in the upper right here, we're seeing this profile view, several profile views of figures wearing what looks like these long coats and a top hat. This is not a typical style for today, other than for my neighbor, Uncle Sid. And indeed, you're correct. This is actually a print from 1856. So as we look down into this crowd, we can see more people, men with hats, women with head coverings and longer dresses. What more can we find? Okay, the horse neighing and two handlers trying to hold on to that bridle to calm this horse down. I can only imagine that the noise and the smoke and the flashes of light were frightening this poor animal. Yes, indeed. What more can we find? Okay, you're noticing the colors. There really aren't a lot of different colors here, are there? The fireworks are mostly orange. And I can tell you that in the beginning, that was the sole color of the Chinese fireworks. They were strictly orange. Now, at this point in history, there are indeed other colors available, but this is a print. Recall that I told you that. And for a printmaker, using fewer colors, ink would make the process much simplified. So we're looking at a pretty, what I would call monochromatic print. It's pretty much grays, blacks, orange, and a little yellow there. What more can we find? Okay, you're seeing that there are some people who have arms waved in the air, and you know this feeling of looking up and just saying, oh, and being amazed at fireworks. You're noticing that most of the crowd is down here. And then we have the stand, obviously, with these what appear to be better dressed people, perhaps the dignitaries of the town. It's really fun to look at some of these old pictures. And certainly there were people celebrating with fireworks all over the world at different times. Now, this print comes to us from France. So the occasion may have been Bastille Day. Let's listen to some music as we scroll through a few more works of art. Our final artwork is a sculpture. Fireworks of Glass is a blown glass sculpture installation, part of the permanent collection of the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. It is a 43-foot tower composed of 3,200 pieces of red, yellow, and cobalt blue blown glass and a pergola ceiling made up of another 1,600 pieces of multicolored glass. You know, when I was a little girl, I had to cover my ears while I was watching fireworks. Those big booms were really just too much for me. I'm happy to say I didn't have to cover them once during this program. I hope you enjoyed our time together today. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity to spend time with you. Thanks also to our host, Friends at Age Span, and our sponsor, Right at Home Boston North. providing the support people need to stay in their home. I'm Siobhan McDonald from Granger Street Studios, sending you good thoughts and lots of sparkles to carry you through until we meet again. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, my friends. See you soon.